stand. There is some confusion about Manchester United at the moment, their transfer strategy, and potentially a midfield crisis for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as the most important part of the pitch appears to be in a state of confusion, as I say. Ndombele has today signed for Tottenham Hotspur. Rabiot has confirmed that he went to Juventus because of Champions League football. Were Manchester United actually in for Ndombele? I actually hope that we were. My understanding was that United had been involved in a bid for Ndombele, but he'd chosen to go to Spurs because of the package of London, Champions League football, Pochettino, a direction over Manchester United. However, some people are telling me we were never in for him. Well, I think that's even worse. It's even worse that we weren't in for him, because the way it feels at the moment, it just feels like that if you haven't, like Bruno Fernandes, if his name was Brian Ferguson, as someone said on Twitter earlier, I'm sure we'd sign him up if he had a British passport. It just seems to be at the moment we have become Brexit FC. Everybody we're looking at seems to be British, and I don't know. There was a very good point today on Twitter where somebody said, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer operating in a comfort zone where he wants to bring in players that he can be in charge of? That obviously that makes sense, but where he wants to be in charge of players that are, less experienced than him, that are British. I don't know. I don't know whether there's anything in that. But what I do know is, if we only bring Sean Longstaff into our midfield, we will fail next year, because if we only bring Sean Longstaff into our midfield, we've got a worse midfield than we finished last season with. Because Ander Herrera and even Fellaini, to be fair, are better than just Sean Longstaff. We've got to bring two midfielders in. We've got to do it. And there are, it's a weird day. We're going to talk about Harry Maguire in a moment. But Manchester United at the moment, if you encompass what happened today, and I just want to say to everybody as well, there's a lot of people out there who will say, oh, it's the glass half full people. Well done. But they'll be going, oh, this is stupid. No one knows what United are doing, so people are just moaning. Great point. But that's not happened at United for many years. The trouble with United is we do know what's happening at United. We know weeks before it happens at United. So for people to be saying, well, no one knows what we're really up to, yeah, I'd love that to be the case, and I think some football clubs are, but not at Manchester United. It's not like that anymore. It's not been like that for a long time. You know who United are looking at, and when you generally look at what's been said today, the consensus is that United want to sign Sean Longstaff before they go on tour. Well, I thought he was injured, so what was the point of that? But even if he's not, is Sean Longstaff going to go into our midfield? No, he's not. He's not going to start for our midfield unless we want to finish in the mid-table, because he's potential. And then we've had the Harry Maguire bid today. With regards to Bruno Fernandes, there is interest from Manchester United in Bruno Fernandes. I think people are getting very negative about Bruno Fernandes. Oh, we're not in for him, this, that and the other. We are in for Bruno Fernandes. Even some of the media outlets in England are saying we're in for him. Certainly ones in Portugal are. We are in for Bruno Fernandes, but I can't tell you what we're doing about Bruno Fernandes, because I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me what we're doing. You hear that United are doing one deal at a time. We want to bring Sean Longstaff in. We've bid for Harry Maguire today, which came out of nowhere, really. Not the interest, but the bid, which was confirmed by quite a lot of credible sources, including Simon Stone in the BBC. With regards to Bruno Fernandes, I looked at the Portuguese press today, and they're basically saying that Sporting Lisbon want 60 to 70 million euro. But they're not going to. The feeling is that they're going to struggle to get 50 million euro because United are bidding so low. Well, they're not bidding low, but they are expected to bid low. There is no agreed terms with Bruno Fernandes. That was a story from Italy today. That's not the case, and there is no bid gone in for Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United yet. It's all about talks. So the danger with this deal with Bruno Fernandes is, he is a very good signing. I'm surprised there's not other clubs looking at him. And if they do and we miss out, we're snooze. I don't know what we're doing here. My only thought with the Bruno Fernandes thing is this, that Ed Woodward's trying to get him on the cheap. And he's trying to play a long game. And he's not going in with a bid yet because he wants Sporting Lisbon to panic a bit. That's all well and good, as long as somebody else doesn't come in and swoop in and get him. And that could happen. That's the only thing that worries me about the Bruno Fernandes deal. But if we don't get Bruno Fernandes, we haven't got Ndombele, we haven't got Rabiot. People talk about James Maddison. Right, we'll talk about James Maddison in a minute, because that's not going to happen either. What are the other midfield options we've got? I don't think people understand the importance of having a good midfield. Our best midfielder wants to leave. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. Then you've got McTominay, Matic, Fred, Pereira. I mean, it's not going to win the bloody Carabao Cup, that midfield. So we need to bring in a top-class midfielder. We needed a top-class... all the Pogba fans would say we needed a top-class midfielder alongside Pogba anyway. So where is this top-class midfielder? Sean Longstaff, I don't mind us signing Sean Longstaff, but we need to bring in this top-class midfielder. And the only one that's really left out there now is Bruno Fernandes. He is the one that fits the bill for what Manchester United needs. Somebody who can track back, tackle, but is basically going to bring some creativity. I believe United are going to do that deal. What is confusing is I don't know why we haven't done it yet. I don't know why we're not pushing to get it done, because he could come on the tour. He's back in training with Sporting Lisbon on Thursday. We could get him done. We could get him on the tour. Why would you not force that through a little bit quicker? I don't know. I can't offer that. But this midfield thing, it is a confusion. It is a mess. And the order of signings, if it is as the press report, are weird. It's weird to go for Sean Longstaff before your main midfielder. And that I do not understand. But when you talk about, let me just take some super chats. We need a big week. I'm not looking forward to Rashi, Scotty, Jonesy and soon to be Staffy FC, says Josh Wearing. And Akshay Sood says, all the prospective new signings aside, why haven't any of the Deadwood walked out yet? Where's that summer clear out we were promised? We can't win anything with a bunch of Instagram clowns. Well, exactly. And of course, the problem with the clear out is if these players go on tour, they're in Australia, they're in China. You know, how can they go and have a medical with Inter Milan who might be on tour as well? It's, you know what it is? I feel a little bit worried about the time that when, you know, people, we spoke about this 2 weeks ago. When United go on tour, they don't really do any business. This has been proven over the previous years. But we've almost put ourselves in that position where we're not going to do any business and then we're going to run out of time altogether, or we're going to have to do business. But it's very hard when you're trying to sell players who are on the other side of the world, or buy players who are on the other side of the world. Because let's not forget, it's not just Manchester United who go on tour. Everybody goes on tour to America, here, there and everywhere. So the deals are very, very difficult to do. And I'm very, very confused about why the order that we're doing things we're doing in them. Now let's bring it back to basically today. So the latest around Manchester United, a lot of this is coming from James Ducker and the Telegraph and a few from the Times, etc. The story is still that Manchester United want to get Sean Longstaff on the plane on Sunday to go on tour. That signing seems to be a priority. The second priority appears to be trying to get Harry Maguire. That's it. Doesn't mean United aren't looking at such and such or Bruno Fernandes or anything like that, but the priorities at the moment are Sean Longstaff and Harry Maguire. It's Brexit FC. And I don't get that. I'm confused by that. I mean, Harry Maguire makes sense. Just on Harry Maguire, we did a video this morning about this. So, look, very, very divisive day anyway, because some people are confused as me are as to what we're doing with our midfield. We need two midfielders and we're focusing on a lad who's played 9 games for Newcastle. That's not... He's one for the future. Where are the players that we're meant to be bringing in now to improve a shit midfield? Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? And the reality is, I don't want to know until August the 8th, really, what's happening. But will we even get an answer then? Because everyone will go, it's Woodward not spending the money again. Well, maybe it is. Or maybe it's Solskjaer and Carrick and Phelan going, no, we need these young British players. That's the plan. And if that is the plan, I personally think, and I know a lot of you will disagree, and that's absolutely fine because it's all about opinion. If our plan is to just bring in up-and-coming British players, I feel like I've jumped into a DeLorean and gone back in time. I've gone back to the mid-80s. What the fuck is that all about? Seriously, why? Why are we just focusing on people with a British passport? There's brilliant European talent out there, and I think we need to be looking at it. And I don't understand why we wouldn't do that. So I think we will look at the players like that, but I don't understand why we're not doing this at the moment. I think there's a confusion. But I think the midfield is massively important, and I think the midfield should have been the first priority, really. There's got to be something going on behind the scenes. But with regards to Harry Maguire, £70 million bid this morning. It pretty much is an official bid because all the credible sources were saying we'd made it. Liverpool apparently rejected it. Then there was a story that Leicester... I'm thinking of a team that won the Premier League beginning with L, and obviously you think Liverpool, but they never have. It's Leicester. The Leicester have rejected 70 million, and apparently they want 90 million. Right, forget about it. Get out. Get out. Like, literally get out. You're having a laugh. Harry Maguire's worth 60 million tops. You pay 10 million more because he's British. You don't pay 90 million for Harry Maguire. You can forget about it. However, there was a further story that came out that Leicester would actually be willing to probably give the player wants the move, and that they would probably accept between 75 and 80 million. Again, I still think that's too much. I I think United are going to sign Harry Maguire. I think that's the way it's going now. It seems very, very similar to what happened with Wan-Bissaka, where it seems to be starting off a very similar way. And I think we will see Harry Maguire coming to Manchester United. And I think we could see maybe 1-2 weeks of negotiating on Harry Maguire. So, maybe that's what we're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks. I don't know. Hi, Mark. Would you ever take phone calls from fans? Says Zain Marcel. Where have you been? We did it last night. But yeah, with Harry Maguire, it's I think he will come to Manchester United. And as I've said, I don't think he's a bad signing. What I do think is a bad signing is when you go above 75 million, you're literally only 15 million away from getting Koulibaly, who's way, way better. That's what concerns me about that. But I think we will pursue this Harry Maguire deal now until its conclusion. I think it's unless Man City take him, because Man City are interested, but I don't think Man City are that interested that they'd pay £75 million for a centre-back, really. I don't think they will. So I can see him coming to Manchester United. So that seems to be what our future is at the moment for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be Sean Longstaff and Harry Maguire. And then, 2 weeks' time, we're into the middle of July. When are we getting this right winger then? When are we solving the midfield? That's where I'm a little bit confused at the moment. And again, people will say, oh, you don't know what's going on, Mark. No one knows. We could sign Bruno Fernandes tomorrow with Thomas Partey. Well, we're not, are we? We're not. That's not going to happen, because that's not what happens with Manchester United. This no one knows crap is a myth put out there by positive people to try and be positive. But this no one knows nonsense, it's not true, is it? Because United don't go and sign no one knows players quickly. Because what'll happen is, the minute we are linked to this no one knows person, we'll have to wait a month before they actually are official, because we'll have to go through it being leaked to the press, blah-de-blah-de-blah. So I think it's going to be a very interesting time, isn't it? But it's Wednesday tomorrow as well. It's Wednesday tomorrow as well. So how quick are things going to happen? On the point of Paul Pogba, let me just read some comments first. Juventus, Real Madrid don't mess about in the transfer market, says Ronnie Gerrard. I think Ollie sees Lingard as our right winger, says Bio20. Look, you know what? I back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course I do. I want him to be successful. I think he talks the talk, and maybe he's a great politician. I don't know. He talks the talk. He loves the club. But what did I say? What did we discuss back in April? Just because we want him to be successful, just because he's a fan of the football club, unfortunately, it doesn't mean he's going to be successful. It doesn't mean he knows what he's doing. It doesn't mean he's a great coach. It doesn't mean he's a great recruiter of players. It doesn't mean his judgment of players is very good. It doesn't. And there are signs that he is a good recruiter and a good manager. But on the other hand, there's signs that he's not a very good judge of character as well, as we saw with the persistence with some players last season. So, look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he could be totally behind these signings and say, I don't want to bring anybody who's not British in, and I want to bring a load of talent in that's going to be good in 3 or 4 years, and I'm going to rely on people like Jesse Lingard for now. And if it works, he's a genius, and if it doesn't work, everyone will say, I can't believe he did it. You got the sack yourself. I'm not going to sit here and say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be a success. I hope he's a success. I want him to be a success. There's a lot of people out there think he's going to fail badly and he'll be gone by Christmas. So, I'm not going to say that's not going to happen either, because I don't know. But what I would say at the moment is this transfer window, as we've said from May the 15th, it needed a real injection of purpose and aggression and ruthlessness. We've not seen it with players going out the door yet, and we've not seen it with players coming in the door yet. Wan-Bissaka's a great signing. Took too long as far as I'm concerned. We're 4 or 5 days away from getting on the plane to a tour when we don't normally buy players when we're on tour, and we're away for a month. So I don't know. Ins and outs. It is a bit of a worry. Why don't we give Eric Bailly and Lindelof a chance to be our centre backs? Oh God. Please God. Clayton, that's your point. Let me try and be positive about this. Okay, so Clayton wants to give Lindelof and Eric Bailly a chance at centre-back. Have they not had that chance already? Did they not have that in January when Bailly got himself sent off and then injured? But you want to give him another chance. Tell you what, let's get Mata and Lingard back in the team as well. Let's give them a chance. Let's get Ashley Young back in the team and have a chance. I personally don't think those types of partnerships, players, deserve another chance. I think they've had their chance and they blew it. I think individually some of those players can be part of a new team, but I want to see new signings coming in. I don't trust that lot of players anymore. The worst thing that can happen is that we use the majority of the players from last season. They've smoked it. They've absolutely smoked it. They've burnt the cigarette down, whatever you want to call it. It's gone. Their chance is gone. I don't trust them. We need some of those players with some new players and to build a new future. I don't agree with Lindelof and Bailly. I like Bailly. Reckless. Gonna get injured his whole career. I said this about Phil Jones. I've said it about Smalling. I've said it about any injury-prone player. I grew up on Bruce and Pallister, Vidic and Rio, and they played a lot of games together. Your centre-back pairing have got to play a lot of games together to build a domineering partnership. I don't see a centre-back partnership at that football club other than Lindelof and Smalling that will play 40 games a season together. And do you want Smalling and Lindelof? Jones cannot play more than 10 games without getting injured. And I'd say Eric Bailly's the same as well. And Rojo's become injury-prone. So, look, people would then say Twan Seaby. I think that's totally unfair and unrealistic on a young player who we don't know what he's going to be like in the Premier League. But no, I don't think Bailly and Lindelof, to be honest with you. Welcome to Morning Send 78 and Emperor. United have made a bid on 40 million for Danny Olmo, according to some news. What do you think? Going to talk about him on Transfer Daily tomorrow, mate. I think he deserves a bit more of an introduction to the show. God, some people are saying Ollie out. Forget about it. What are you on about? We're not doing Ollie out. We're not doing Ollie out. Little bit early tonight because England ladies are playing a World Cup semi-final against America ladies. So I'm going to watch that and be a little bit supportive of that. So please do smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. But we are an hour earlier than we normally do the show. Yes, we are. Let's talk about Paul Pogba for a moment. Marca in Spain are reporting that Real Madrid are trying to get in contact with Manchester United to discuss a deal for Paul Pogba, but Manchester United won't reply to them. This is just hilarious. This is like, well, Paul Pogba's in New York. He was in New York today. He's doing some Adidas event. So the earliest Paul Pogba will be back in training for United is probably Thursday or Friday because he's still in America. He's got to fly back yet. So that's when Solskjaer gets his first opportunity to sit down with Pogba. So Pogba, we don't know whether he wants to go or not, but he might be feeding stuff back to Madrid. Madrid are trying to get in contact with Manchester United to talk about Pogba, apparently, but Manchester United aren't interested. And it's like, you know what, it just makes me laugh. It really, really does make me laugh. It's like, you know, when, as a father myself, fortunately, my kids aren't old enough to be out dating yet, but it's a little bit like, you know, your daughter comes home and says, oh, Gary's coming round later to take me out. No, he's not. Well, I really want to go out with him. No, he's not. Oh, he's at the door now. Quick, close the curtains, turn the telly off, lock the door. Gary's knocking on the door. Oh, can Pam come out for the night? Shut up, Pam, be quiet. What are you doing waving at the window in your sexy bloody dress? Get down here, you're not going out with him. And that's a bit what it's like with Pogba, isn't it? Manchester United, we're the father that doesn't want their prize asset to go out with anybody else, but they want to go out. So we're trying to pretend that nobody's in. But the Real Madrid, no. They're like, hey, you know, Paul Pogba's up at the window saying, please take me out. You know, you can't, what are you going to do? Just pretend we're not there. Start humming a song in your head. We've got to face up to this, whatever the outcome is with Pogba. You can't just ignore. Well, you can do, but it's a small club mentality. We spoke about this a few weeks ago. You can't just sit there and pretend nobody's at the door. You know, you've got to open the door and basically say, look, you know, we haven't spoken to Pogba ourselves yet. If you want to buy him, and he forces the move, you can start the bidding at 150 million quid. They might go away then and say, oh no, I'm not taking Pam out, she's too expensive. I'll go with Easy Ella across the road. That's might be what happens, but we've got to face this up head on. We can't be a small club and just go la 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 la, head in the sand. I'm not listening to you. If you keep talking to me about Pogba, I'm not going to talk to you. No. You've got to face up to it. Certainly, you've got to face up to it. Okay, let's take... I mean, look, as I said with Pogba, it's very easy. Somebody just said there, what would you do with Pogba? You have the chat with him. If Pogba says he wants to go, you say, look, how much are you going to force this? Are you going to totally divorce yourself from Manchester United and be despised by the fan base, or do you want to go on good terms? If he says, I want to go on good terms, you say, look, realistically, I can't let you go this summer. I've got no time. I've not even got the midfield I want, let alone with you going. So... no time to replace you. I can't let you go this summer, but what I can do is I'll let you go next summer. So give us one good year and you can go next summer. That's what United should be saying. If he says, no, forget about it, I'm going no matter what, or I'm just going to cause a big fuss, then you've got a big problem, because not only have you got to bring the two midfielders in we need, you've got to replace Paul Pogba as well. And this season, look, there are United fans out there, and I was one of them a few weeks ago. Get rid of Pogba. Don't like the fact that he wants to leave. Get rid of him. I think you've got to look a little bit bigger than that. How unstable do you want our season to be next year? I think it's pretty unstable, uncertain anyway. If you want to remove Pogba from it, I think, who knows? I mean, it might be great, it might not, but I think we've got to try and keep him for another year and do what's best for us, whether he's unsettled or not. I think United are scared of making a mistake next year after rubbish last season and are buying dependable English proven players, says Hayden Sweet. But Sean Longstaff's not dependable and proven, is he? Harry Maguire's not dependable and proven at the top level. He's a risk. I think he's a good player, but he's a risk. Wan-Bissaka is a Crystal Palace right-back who's 21. He's a risk. Daniel James is a massive risk. He's a championship winger. So they're not dependable. They're British, but they're not dependable or reliable. They're not. I think they're good signings, but I don't agree with the whole we've gone with the reliable route, because how are they reliable? Have they ever played for Manchester United or a big club before? None of them have. So it's a big step up for them, as much as it's a step up for a quality player from Europe to come here. I reckon we should get Van der Sar as our chairman, doing wonders at Ajax. Ed Wood out, says Metal Music Reviews. Yeah, well, you know what? I don't know what's going on with the director of football at all with Manchester United at the moment. What's Forget About It from, says The Real Review. Forget about it. I don't know. It'll be some gangster mafia film, knowing me. Pogba is a dog with a bone, and Woodward or Ollie didn't throw it. He wants out. I'll personally come to Manchester United and slam it into the back of his head as he leaves. He has no passion for the shirt he wears. So there's Anthony Ross. He clearly wants Pogba to go. I don't mind Pogba going. I said at the start of the summer that I think it's the right time. I think Pogba, the experiment, has not worked out. I think he's right to want to go. I respect him for that. I think he is right to want to go. And I think United should have been planning for him to go. But we clearly haven't. And now we're in that position where I don't think we can just let him go, because we're not equipped for it at all. When do you think we will sign Bruno Fernandes, says Marilyn Hart? You know what? I do think we're going to sign Bruno Fernandes. I felt like it all summer. I'm not going to change my mind, but I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm very confused and tired with it. I don't understand why we're not pushing it. For me, he is essential to Manchester United. I know he's a top priority for Manchester United. I've known that for a while, as I'm sure many of you do. But I don't understand why that top priority is not being focused on as much as it should be. I do not know. I do not understand. And it's, Sean Longstaff is not enough on his own for that midfield. I know we're going back to the start of the show now in this midfield confusion crisis. Who are we looking at? Because Longstaff has played 9 games for Newcastle. That's not a replacement for Herrera or Fellaini. It's not. It's a potential player who might become a good player. But we've already got a player like that. McTominay is already that player. Fred, huge question marks about him. Pereira, huge question marks about him. Matic, definitely on the decline. Pogba doesn't want to be here. That's our midfield. McTominay, who we don't know whether he's going to be any good or not, but he's potentially good. Fred, who's verging on a flop. Pereira, who's probably not going to make it. Matic, who's past it. Pogba, who wants to leave. That's our midfield. Like, there's no dead cert there, and you need 2 or 3 dead certs. You bring Longstaff in as the 6th midfielder. What's his profile? Potential player who could make it or could be a flop. Like, there's no dead cert there. Whereas, if you've got Rabiot, quality, and Dembele, quality. I'm not moaning that we didn't get them. They've probably chosen the better option. Bruno Fernandes, available, probably wants to come to this club, top class quality. We need some quality in that midfield. We desperately need some quality in that midfield. I think we'll buy Bruno, Ben Yedder, Longstaff and Maguire, says Hannibal Wolf. Well, I could deal with that. Chloe Jenkins says that Vidic has been offered the coaching position at United. I mean, this is the under-23 job, so I hope there's something in it, but we don't know for sure at the moment. Few people saying James Maddison. I forgot to say that at the start of the show, I don't think there's any chance of James Maddison coming to Manchester United. And the reason is, look at the way Leicester are dealing with the Harry Maguire thing. He's been there 1 year. He's a prize asset for them. They would want silly money. And in fact, they don't need to sell Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire can force the move. I don't think Maddison's going to force the move. I think it would cost ridiculous money. James Maddison will not come to Manchester United. That could be used in a few weeks when he does, but no, he won't. And Ndidi would be another signing I would really like. He won't come to Manchester United. They won't let him go. They won't let him go. So Harry Maguire is about the only one we're going to get for Leicester. And of course, by going for that player, as somebody just said there, what about Tielemans? I think that Tielemans will be at Manchester United. Will not be at Manchester United. I think he'll go to Leicester. I do. I think we'll end up with Harry Maguire, and they'll get Tielemans. And I think there will be some discussion there that, you know, if you give us Harry Maguire, we won't pursue Tielemans. I can see that happening. I like Tielemans. I think he'd be very good for Manchester United. I think, again, if he wasn't called Yuri Tielemans and he was called Gary Telford, we would sign him because he's 22. Premier League proven, fantastic talent, available for £40 million. The only reason we're not looking at him is because he's Belgian, I think. I think we're Brexit FC, aren't we? I mean, I'm joking there, but you know what I mean? I think we'd be all over Yuri Tielemans if his name was Gary Telford. I really do. I do. Are we expecting too much in Ollie's first window, says Metal Music Reviews? Yes, I think it's natural that we are expecting too much, definitely. But I don't think we've achieved even half much, if that makes sense. You can't expect too much. You know, maybe expecting a right back, centre back, 2 midfielders, a right winger and a striker is too much. And 4 or 5 players out. We even spoke about that in May. That is too much. But is it too much to ask to have a centre back, 2 midfielders? And for those 2 midfielders to be quality and not potential? You know, that I don't think we're asking too much. Turbatoon says every player is a risk. Look at Mkhitaryan, Di Maria, Fellaini, Fred, Matic, Schneidlin, Sanchez, Memphis. We have to try another way now. Fact. No, I disagree with you there, because I think, and I'm sorry if I get this wrong, when you say we need to try another way, fact, I presume you're talking about another way in, yeah, let's go and get British players. I look at that list of players that you said there, Di Maria, Memphis, everybody like that. I don't think that was the wrong way. I think that's the wrong recruiter. You can't stop buying talent from abroad because you messed it up over the last 6 years. Every other club in the Premier League seems to do absolutely fine at recruiting talent from the continent, but we are bad at it. Why are we bad at it? Because we haven't got a director of football and because the recruiters are poor. You can't just say, oh, let's stop buying talent from Europe because we failed at it and let's start buying British. Again, that's ridiculously blinkered. It really is. Because, you know, have Liverpool struggled buying people from the continent? No. Have Man City? No. Have Spurs? No. Have Arsenal? No. We have, because we're bad at it. So if we're not doing it because we're crap at it, well, maybe we should be buying English people, but actually maybe just sort out why you're crap at it. Billage1 says, if Lukaku goes for 75 million and we spend 35 million replacing him, that's 40 million profit. So for Yedda, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and James, that's total spend of just 25 million so far. Well, the net spend is going to be very interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting indeed. Please do smash. I tell you what, the last 2 videos we've done on the United Stand, I don't know whether people are getting notifications or not, but we're down by like half the normal viewers. I don't know why. I don't know whether there's a problem with YouTube today. It's ridiculous. But if you're not watching it live, apologies. You know, we're not in charge of who gets notifications on YouTube, but I definitely know we'd normally have a hell of a lot more people than this watching, because we'd definitely normally have more than 500 likes on a video when we're coming towards the end of it. So I don't know what's wrong with YouTube today. I think it's a little bit broken. But if you have missed the show live, apologies for that. We will be back at 7 a.m. tomorrow with Transfer Daily. I think there's lots going on with Manchester United at the moment. What will happen to our 25% of the Zaha sale if players are involved in the deal? Says Dane Summer. I don't know, Dane. I don't know how that works. I really don't know how that will work, to be honest with you. But recap. I'm not really going to give a recap, Peter Ryan. Maybe just watch the whole video, because it wasn't really a topic-driven show. It was more of a general conversation show, which I sometimes like to do. Thanks everyone for watching. Please do smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I will be back again tomorrow at 7 a.m. with Transfer Daily. Thanks everyone for watching. See you soon. Enjoy England versus America.